my dear wife and people, and all the human society, and especially the Red Cross, don't leave me.
After 3 execution deadlines, a family's ordeal finally eases. For now, pro-Iranian terrorists spare the life of one American hostage.
We are very happy and delighted that it's turned out so far the way it did.
This is the CBS Evening News. Dan Rather reporting. Good evening. Joseph Sicipio is still alive tonight. The pro-Iranian group holding Sicipio in Beirut first put off his threatened execution today for 4 hours, then suspended it indefinitely while announcing new demands. A spokesman for President Bush said the suspension was a hopeful development. The day began with a death sentence set for 11 a.m. Eastern Time. The terrorist had postponed it once for 48 hours, saying it would not be extended again. But then this morning at 7:32 Eastern Time, they announced another 4-hour delay. They released a videotape they said was of Sicipio pleading for his life.
Don't be late, because they are very serious to hang us. And the period becomes very soon, and the hour is very little.
The tape was rushed to Damascus and broadcast to the West. 10:40 a.m. When Sicipio's family in Pennsylvania first saw it, they said they hardly knew him.
I'm not 100% sure that it's Joe. I think it's Joe. I would have to study the tape a few more times before I could say definitely that it is.
The statement, which appeared to have been written by the captors, tried to increase the pressure on Israel to release its kidnapped Shiite leader.
And demand from the American people to oblige Israel to release Sheikh Abdul Karim Obed immediately, because his kidnapping is not human.
Israel had no response. In Tehran, it was presidential inauguration day for another key player, Hashim Rafsanjani. He is said to be eager to improve ties with the West and shed the image of terrorism as Iran's national policy. Back in Pennsylvania, emotions were barely under control. On Capitol Hill, House members were calling for action.
The murder of Joseph Sicipio would be a savage and barbarous act, and those who contemplate and threaten such action must be prepared to accept the consequences if they act.
Against state-sanctioned terrorism.
Across the United States, there was a volatile mix of anxiety and rage. At noon, Jews demonstrated outside the Iranian mission to the UN in New York.
Thank you.
12:15 p.m., Chicago's Holy Name Cathedral held a special mass to pray for the hostages' safety. At the Sicipio home, the family drew together again and braced for another climax of fear and hope. Then at 2:40 p.m., just 20 minutes before the deadline, the word finally came. The death sentence was suspended. The worst was over, at least for now.
The hostage takers are saying, look, we are willing to negotiate. Let's do something now.
Late today, the captors released another still photo of Sicipio, along with a note which said they had suspended the death sentence because of, quote, the intervention of parties with whom America pleaded. The statement from the kidnappers and torturers included new demands. They called on Israel to release not just Sheikh Obaid, but a number of Lebanese and Palestinian fighters held in Israel. It said lists of them would be drawn up and given to the Red Cross. Israel said it would study the new demands. It has stood firm in refusing to free the Sheikh, except as part of a possible broad prisoner swap. Correspondent Bob Simon has the latest from Tel Aviv.
You could feel the relief in Israel tonight. People listening to the news, people making the news, knew that the pressure was off. Israeli officials viewed the freeze as a vindication of their hard line, of what they saw as their cool nerves in a hot war. Israeli forces in Lebanon were poised and ready, but even before Sicipio's reprieve, Secretary Baker phoned Foreign Minister Aarons and said the Americans did not see the need for an Israeli move right now. Baker did not ask Aarons to return Sheikh Obeid to Lebanon, not even while Sicipio's life was still on the line. The Israelis did not want to say much about what was billed as the new initiative from Hezbollah.
If the information that came over from Beirut is a serious one, we'll look at it positively.
But if the initiative really calls for the release of Palestinian detainees, as well as for the return of Sheikh Obeid and Lebanese prisoners, and offers nothing in return, officials here say, it will not be seriously considered. Israeli officials expressed appreciation tonight for what they called American patience and persistence. These officials said the most important development has been the creation of an effective channel between Washington and Tehran. They said you can get things done when you're dealing with a nation and not with some crazy men in Lebanon. Bob Simon, CBS News, Tel Aviv.
Officials of the UN and the Vatican were among those trying today to recover the body of U.S. Marine Colonel William Higgins, whose pro-Iranian captors said they executed him on Monday. Alan Pizzi in Damascus is following those developments.
As Beirut's beleaguered residents dig themselves out of the rubble of endless violence, one man who represents a totally different set of values is trying to find a way into Beirut's other endless madness, the hostage crisis. UN Undersecretary Marek Goulding went to the Iranian embassy in West Beirut. Goulding's primary mission is to find out if Marine Lieutenant Colonel William Higgins really was murdered by his Shiite Muslim captors, and if so, to try and retrieve his body.
I still do not know whether Colonel Higgins is dead. I pray that he is not dead, but I still am in the process of trying to obtain information on that.
There are no expectations here of a quick resolution. Things move slowly in the Middle East, and saving face is paramount. Tehran can influence the Hezbollah or Party of God because it created it and pays for it. Salaries for militiamen, subsidized hospitals, free clinics, and other social services in Shiite areas all come from Iran's pocket. Some estimates say Tehran pours $1 million a day into its Lebanese surrogates. With 30,000 troops in Lebanon, Syria can squeeze the kidnapped gangs by cutting off supplies to their areas. Syrian and Iranian pressure on the kidnappers almost certainly helped Joseph Sicipio win his indefinite stay of execution. Freedom, however, still looks a long way off for all the hostages. Alan Pizzi, CBS News, Damascus.
We'll be talking to our correspondents about the outlook for the hostages, and also later on the CBS Evening News, Richard Wagner on a murder trial for South Africa's Trojan Horse policeman. Richard Schlesinger on gangsters among the immigrants from the Soviet Union.
I got dirty an awful lot when I was little. What am I doing here? You know this.
You're playing baseball.
Yeah, that's right. It came natural to get dirty. Johnson's baby shampoo has been great for my hair all through my life. It's strong. It makes my hair look clean. It makes my hair feel clean, and it's gentle. Look at this kid's hair. I think it looks good.
Johnson's baby shampoo, now also with conditioners for extra control.
I shower 4 or 5 times a day. It's never made me cry.
Johnson's, for the life of your hair.
Only Red Lobster could create an event this big. Lobster Fest 89. Lobster choices like nowhere else, starting at just $7.95. Get ready to savor sweet rock lobster or luscious Maine lobster. New platters like lobster and crab. Great lobster dishes starting at just $7.95. Kids dinner $1.95. Don't miss Lobster Fest, now at Red Lobster. Friday through Sunday, it's our weekend special. Steak and shrimp just $10.95.
Ever since Unisom, people have abandoned their old sleep medicine because medical tests prove people fall asleep faster and sleep better all night with Unisom than without. Take Unisom for faster, better sleep.
The truth is, heart specialists concerned about aspirin irritation recommend Ecotrin over Bayer to help prevent second heart attack. Consult your doctor about the only brand of aspirin that's safety coded to protect your stomach. That's Ecotrin, and that's the truth.
Joining me now to try to sort through the latest questions raised by today's developments in the still unfolding and extremely complex hostage crisis, 4 veteran CBS News colleagues. Bob Simon is in Israel, Leslie Stoll is at the White House, Bill Plant is at the State Department, David Martin at the Defense Department. First, what do we know about how and why the kidnappers, the torturers, called off the execution of Joseph Sicipio today? First, David Martin.
Well, Dan, there are intelligence reports tonight that Iran's new president, Rafsanjani, sent a personal envoy to Beirut, and the presumption is that that was somehow instrumental in persuading the Revolutionary Justice Organization to spare Scipio's life.
Bob Simon?
Dan, this is not the first time the Israelis have advised the Americans to open the gate to Iran. What they're pointing out tonight is not only that the connection worked, but that there were a whole lot of people working on it. The Russians in particular, the Japanese, the Europeans. It was almost as if the entire industrialized world was telling Iran, get this thing done.
Bill Plant.
In addition to what the other nations said, there's a suspicion here that the delay was granted because Iran and its followers in Lebanon are willing to explore a deal with Israel. But if that's the case, Dan, nobody in this building wants to hear about it. The position here is that the U.S. does not deal with hostage takers. But if there is a deal, the U.S. is going to certainly have to participate, at the very least, to return the Iranian assets which were frozen here at the fall of the Shah.
Leslie Stahl?
Dan, at the White House, they say this is the Middle East and it's murky, while circumstantial evidence points to Iran as the pivotal pressure point on Hezbollah. Other Middle Eastern leaders have told President Bush that it could have been Syria, it could have even been the Soviet Union that brought the pressure to bear. And if it was Iran, they're not sure why. Perhaps it was a sense of a military threat, but then again, they think maybe Rafsanjani, the moderate leader there, wanted to use this as an opportunity to improve relations with the United States. It's just very confusing.
Important to keep in mind, relief surely that the death threat against Joseph Scipio is lifted, at least for now, but the hostage crisis goes on. William Higgins, after all, may have been killed, and Scipio and other Americans remain hostages and in great danger. So what happens now, Bob Simon?
Dan, Israeli officials believe the initial negative reaction from Washington was caused by the fact that Israel had brought the hostage question back to the front burner, which is precisely where the Bush administration did not want it. But now that it's there, they say, it's not unthinkable to dream what may now be a possible dream, to keep working not only to keep the hostages alive, but to get them free.
Bill?
But the problem is that this is far from over. The expectations have been raised, which can't be met very quickly. They fear here that the threat by the captors to reinstate the death sentence overshadows everything that happened today. Intensive diplomacy will certainly continue, but racing against that is the danger that the militants in Lebanon may get impatient and act.
David Martin.
Dan, technicians are still analyzing that tape which purports to show Rich Higgins hanging by his neck. And I think a lot of what happens next will depend on whether or not they are definitely able to identify that as Rich Higgins and determine how he died and when.
To what happens now, Leslie Stahl?
Dan, at the White House, clearly enormous relief, but there's a determination not to give any sense of celebration. They don't see this as a breakthrough because the cruel status quo still exists. We still have American hostages in Lebanon.
Thank you, Leslie Stahl, Bob Simon, Bill Plant, and David Martin live tonight from their posts. And I'll be back with more news in a moment, so stay here with us.
A recent test compared the Toyota Tercel stick shift, the Hyundai Excel stick shift, and the Subaru Justy Automatic. But we made it just a little tougher on the Justy, because you don't have to shift the Justy. And its incredible ECVT automatic makes it accelerate and pass quicker than the Hyundai and the Toyota. Proof that Subaru can beat the competition with one arm and one leg tied behind its back. U.S. Sprint proudly announces fiber optic 800 services for businesses large and small. No matter what you're selling by phone, your customers will sound closer and your calls will cost less. Get America's only nationwide 100% fiber optic 800 service for your business. Call Sprint now and talk with the best.
For the same calories in this, you could be enjoying this. This is low in fat, but so is Baskin-Robbins' new Low, Light, and Luscious with NutraSweet. It's sugar-free, 97% fat-free, 1/3 less calories than ice cream, and a taste that's all Baskin-Robbins.
Uncle Charlie hasn't thought about his dentures all day, because he thought about Orifix this morning.
Orifix 'em. That'll fix 'em.
Orifix has extra hold to hold dentures tight day and night. Orifix 'em. That'll fix 'em.
An unprecedented trial in South Africa. 13 security officers charged with murdering 3 young people. Their parents are prosecuting the case because the state would not. Today, correspondent Richard Wagner reports the Supreme Court in Cape Town rejected a defense demand that would have stopped the trial.
Today's Supreme Court ruling means that for the first time in South African history, members of the security forces will be tried for murder on charges brought by private citizens. The killings took place almost 4 years ago during anti-apartheid unrest in Athlone, a mixed-race township near Cape Town. It's called the Trojan Horse case because white police officers hid themselves in an ordinary-looking delivery truck and then came up shooting, Jack-in-the-Box style, when the vehicle was stoned. In the hail of buckshot, 3 youths were killed. Even though a lower court found the police officers guilty of negligence and responsibility for the deaths of the 3 young men, the Attorney General of the Cape Province declined to charge the security officers with murder. But families of the victims refused to give up. Under a provision of South African law, they themselves charged 13 security personnel with murder.
This is the last photo that was taken of him.
Today, rejecting demands for huge legal costs should the families lose their case, the court ordered the trial to proceed.
It's like yesterday that has happened, and I'm glad that the case is going on for, not for myself, but for other people that also went through these things, and they just stopped there because they feel it's police and they don't want to get involved.
Athlone today is still haunted by the killings. The physical scars remain and the psychological wounds will not go away. Few people will even speak of the incident, but those who will do not forget and will not forgive.
For us, it really means the police is not there to protect you, but to kill people.
On the day of the signal victory in court, the parents of one of the victims grieved at the grave of their slain son. They and the other families are hoping for justice in a country not noted for dispensing it to people of color. Richard Wagner, CBS News, Athlone.
In Washington, another sign that the U.S. economy may be heading toward a period of slow growth and possibly a recession. The Commerce Department reported today that its index of leading economic indicators fell again in June, this time by 0.1%. That is the 4th decline in 5 months.
Dear Malox, my daughter's dates give me Malox moments.
Hey, I'm here!
Last night was a real doozy. What a Malox moment. My stomach did flip-flops. Good thing Extra Strength Malox Plus is so strong. My doctor recommended it, and it's the strongest antacid I can buy. With teenagers, Malox is a must.
Nice house. Nice earring.
Write us about your Malox moments. Extra Strength Malox Plus. Strong relief for all your Malox moments.
Life without cholesterol. Give up the best things in life. What's left?
New Miracle Whip cholesterol-free dressing. Now you get all the taste of regular Miracle Whip and absolutely no cholesterol.
I do?
New Miracle Whip cholesterol-free. Now the best things in life are cholesterol-free.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
And now see the light. Miracle Whip Light's cholesterol-free.
Time to eat. Hey, if you wear dentures, I'll bet you know what it's like getting food stuck between your dentures and gums. Like this darn seed. Ouch. But Super Polygrip forms a seal so tight it can hold from morning till night. To help keep food out, dentures in. Super Polygrip.
Denture wearers, if you smoke, here's great news. New Smoker's Polydent now cleans better than ever. Its super strength cleans tough tobacco stains. The minty mouthwash ingredient freshens up dentures. New Smoker's Polydent.
A better mouth freshening clean.
2 separate veto threats from President Bush. Mr. Bush threatened to veto the entire multi-billion-dollar savings and loan bailout bill approved by the House today. The House refused to adopt President Bush's accounting formula, which is aimed at keeping billions of the bailout cost from actually being counted in the federal deficit. The president also threatened to veto a House-approved bill that would once again allow some taxpayer money to pay for abortions in the nation's capital. Figures out today show that Soviet Jews are immigrating at more than twice last year's rate. Just last month, nearly 4,000 arrived in Vienna, most awaiting final resettlement in the United States. As Soviet immigrants come here in search of a new life, correspondent Richard Schlesinger reports a disturbing number of them are finding that life in crime.
Cigarra, cigarra,
In the shadow of this country's vibrant and growing Soviet emigre community, mixed in among some of America's newest immigrants are some of America's newest criminals, sophisticated, organized, and violent.
We're talking about hundreds of people who have immigrated here who are now involved in organized criminal activities. This is a group. This is a ring. This is a gang. Pretty soon it'll be an army.
Bootleg gasoline was the Soviet mobsters' ticket to the big time. Teaming up with the mafia, they took advantage of a weakness in the tax laws and sold gasoline without paying any tax. It was their most lucrative scheme.
It was nearly $150 million or more that was stolen by this combined group in 1 year.
In their race to make money, Soviet mobsters often print their own. All the money you're looking at, $1.4 million worth, is counterfeit.
They don't just print $100,000, they'll print 20 million.
Most of the Soviet mobs got organized here in the heavily Soviet neighborhood of Brighton Beach in Brooklyn. They are not as organized as the Italian mafia yet. Still, they've been able to extend their influence far beyond the borders of Brooklyn.
You will generally find Soviet emigres in New York City, Miami, Los Angeles in the United States. You will find them in Toronto, Canada.
Open up the overhead door there and I'll back the truck in and we'll get started.
Police say the Soviets are expert con men. The man in the white shirt is a Soviet emigre named Mark Gorelick. He's taking a delivery of luggage. He and another Soviet ran a scam telling businessmen they were running sales promotions. They were so convincing that major companies agreed to deliver almost $200 million in furs, luggage, and other items before being paid.
These items wouldn't have lasted more than a few hours on the street. That's how quickly they would have been sold.
It never got that far. In this case, the delivery men are undercover police officers.
We have additional bad news for you. We're not truckers. We're not with the furniture business or the luggage business. We're police officers, and you're under arrest.
Police say the Soviet gangsters don't fear American justice.
Okay?
Even if they get caught, it's minor in comparison what they would get in Russia.
This Soviet emigre has dealt with the mobs and doesn't want to be identified.
When it comes to business, they're ready to go to war.
There have already been casualties in that war. A leader of one Soviet mob was shot dead in his Rolls-Royce after he became a government informant.
This organized crime element, Russian immigrants, they kill anybody. I think they're far more dangerous than organized crime as we know it.
100,000 Soviets are expected to apply for U.S. visas next year. The overwhelming majority are honest. But there is no way for American authorities to know who is looking to benefit from our system and who is looking to exploit it. Richard Schlesinger, CBS News, New York.
Promising developments tonight in the battle against two incurable diseases. California scientists report that a new drug called Depronil appears to block the advance of Parkinson's disease in its early stages. Those taking the drug were able to work and function twice as long as those who did not. And a federal researcher reports that the drug AZT slows the progress of AIDS even in people who have relatively few symptoms of the disease. Up till now, AZT has been recommended for use in patients with advanced cases of AIDS.
Now, new scientific tests prove Heart's Blockade Repellent gives your pet total protection against fleas and ticks, or your money back. Unsolicited, here's what some satisfied Blockade users have told us.
My golden retriever suffered with fleas and ticks. Heart's Blockade solved the problem. It really works.
I'm so pleased with Heart's Blockade. I have 3 dogs and 7 cats and raise basset hounds who have always had a flea problem until I use Blockade. It's terrific.
Heart's Blockade, guaranteed flea and tick protection that really works.
Well, this doesn't look very interesting. I mean, I thought you'd have me try something a little fancier, maybe with nuts and fruit cocktail. These are nothing but flakes. It isn't at all what I expected. I like it. Oh, I get it. It's a whole new kind of cereal. Simple and back to basics, right? I like it.
Kellogg's Cornflakes.
Cornflakes?
Taste them again for the first time.
To my beautiful wife.
It's nice to know he still loves the way you look. And if you wear dentures, you can count on Effordent to freshen up dentures and clean away stains so well. With Effordent, all he'll notice is you.
How strong is Extra Strength Tums EX? Heartburn strikes, Tums strikes back. Heartburn's gone that fast. Tums EX, twice as strong, twice as fast as regular Rolaids.
Echoes of a nightmare. Word from the shadows of the Middle East that an American hostage will not be murdered today. A tape surfaces, the mouthing of terrorist demands by a hostage in unspeakable and unspoken fear of death. The sighs of relief here at home over a life that wasn't taken, but the gnawing in the gut that won't go away. CBS News correspondent Bruce Morton has some thoughts tonight on the anguish of an America founded on constitutional points of law, confronted by terrorism at the point of a gun.
Here we are again. Nothing makes us angrier or more helpless.
I can't tell you when the hostages will be released.
They're about to shoot a passenger. They just shot a passenger to the 847.
We will fight back against your cowardly attacks on American citizens and property.
We want to. We want to get our people back or make the bad guys suffer. We want to blow somebody away.
If they are killing us, then we should also catch those people and we should kill them.
We are vulnerable because we are an open society. We wear our grief in headlines and on TV. They hide in shadows.
My name is Alan Conwell from Houston, Texas. I am one of the hostages taken on flight 847.
Yeah, they're just trying to get media attention, and you guys are the one that are guilty of giving them the attention.
But we want to know, want to share the grief of hostage families and friends.
To see their family, to see their husbands and sons on TV pleading for their lives, it's horrible.
But keeping bad news secret can be awful too. Openness is part of what we are. The terrorists scorning democracy have another advantage, what a colleague once called the special strength of the shameless. They reject our standards of decency. They don't care what the world thinks of what they do.
Some days you feel like it's just so helpless, and that frustrated and anger just builds up. And
let our people go! Let our people go! Old thoughts, old chants and ribbons. All we can do each time is to remind ourselves of what we know. We are strong. National howls of rage don't help. The only remedy seems to be hang tough and stay with it. Sometimes, not always, that has worked. Bruce Morton, CBS News, Washington.
And that's part of our world tonight. We hope you'll stay tuned for 48 Hours, what we think is a specially interesting program on schizophrenia. Tonight, that's at 8, 7 Central Time. Dan Rather for the CBS Evening News. See you in 48 hours soon.
Out of mind, the torment of schizophrenia, the public problem, the private hell. A new 48 Hours tonight.
This is CBS.